Thank you so much for watching Riff TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview. Lizzie, good to see you again. How's things?
Oh, things are great, man. We're excited to release new music, and we got all these tours that we just announced. So life is good right now.
All right, before we get to the tours and new music, what does someone like yourself get your brother RJ for his birthday?
Honestly, I got him some outrageous clothing this year. Usually it's some kind of a joke thing because his birthday is on April Fool's Day. So there's always that. And this time I just went with some crazy, stage wear stuff that he can take on tour. Like a very ugly blue and pink and red sweater. There's a pair of pants that's both yellow and very and like Cheap Trick checkered. Yeah, why not? The kid wears his his personality on the outside. So
that's right, exactly.
Got to keep it colorful.
I got to give a plug to my friends at Black Shag Vintage down there in Nashville. You ever stop in there to get clothing?
I do. It's hard to get out of that store.
Yeah, I know. And I always buy records, and I'll be down there in a few weeks, and I'll be down there checking it out again. I always walk away with from Tommy's place with some albums. So since I talked to you last, you guys did the European thing. How'd that work out for you?
Oh, that was amazing. I can't wait to do it again. We did an evening with tour, which was just basically means it's all us all the time. And so, we were switching up the set every night, but we started mapping it. So it would start with me just for a couple songs. And then I would start bringing in Joe, and then I brought in the other guys, and we did some acoustic stuff. And then we basically built it up into like full blown rock show. So it was just really this beautiful ride. And by the time, you're like full in, like doing Back from the Dead or I'm the Fire, like everyone's already in and they've seen all these different sides of you and your band and the personality. So it was really lovely.
Yeah. Now, do you do any cover songs on that? I always remember I'm not a huge Fleetwood Mac's fan, but you did the Gold Dust Woman here for the Riff many, many years ago. I don't even know if you guys still do that song.
We haven't done that in a long time, but we ended up learning a cover every single morning. And our basis for the cover was somebody that was some musician that was born in the city. Okay. So like what did we do in Sheffield? Sheffield, we ended up doing,
do a Duff song, right?
Well, okay, we should have done that. In hindsight, the guys kind of threw me to the wolves. I did some Joe Cocker on piano. I did the "You Are So Beautiful." It was fine. But in Dublin, we did Thin Lizzy, and then obviously in Birmingham, we did Judas Priest. It was it was just kind of a nice little tribute throughout.
Or Black Sabbath, you could have done in Birmingham as well.
That would have been fun too. There's so many from Birmingham. It was hard to find something from Scotland that wasn't like just too odd. But we ended up doing the Proclaimers, 1,000 Miles, and for that one of all of the covers, like it just brought the house down. I'm like, seriously, the Proclaimers at a rock show? This is amazing. Yeah, so I was quite surprised.
Yeah, I think Metallica was doing something like that in their last tour. They'd play like a song from each place they went to. I know when they came here, they did Turn the Page, which they've done before. So for Bob,
yeah, that's awesome.
But speaking of set lists, so you've got this thing now where the fans can pick the set list for the shows coming up. So has anything surprised you as far as what people are picking, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of, especially the orders that they're putting it in, because there's some like that, like, wait, you want me to end with a ballad? Seriously? Right. But it's really interesting just to get everybody's input. It's put your dream set list up there, and we've gotten a lot of crazy ideas. So, guys, if you're coming out to any of these shows, you may actually hear some of these suggestions, and people are getting deep too, like super deep tracks from like before we were even signed to Atlantic. They're like, we want to hear this one that we've only heard on YouTube. I'm like, awesome, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah. I you're big on social media, of course. So I mean, it's cool how you interact with the fans, and I'm sure growing up in Pennsylvania, you would have loved to be able to interact with some of your favorites growing up, just like you do with your fans.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy how different of a time and a generation this is, because yeah, when I was growing up, if I could reach through and actually have conversations, with some of my idols, it's like that would have been totally crazy. I also probably would have freaked out. There is a fangirl inside of me. In fact, the first time I ever met Joan Jett, I was such a dork. I couldn't think of anything to say. We're like standing backstage. We're opening up for the legend, right? She's like, "Oh, so what's up?" And I'm like, I ended up talking about the weather. I said something like, "It's really hot out here," and then she's like, "Yeah, well, I like it hot though. It's got to be like sweaty." I'm like, "Yeah," and then it's like, "All right, we'll see you later." I'm like, "Damn it, I blew it,"
Have you had a chance to talk to her since?
Yeah, we're cool now, but it was just so funny. Like she's funny because she's super sarcastic. I brought my guitar player Joe had bought me a Joan Jett melody maker like years before. So when I saw her, I brought the guitar, and I'm like, "Hey, Joni, would you mind signing this just so I can hang it up and everything?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't sign guitars anymore." And I believed her, and I'm like, "Oh, well, that's okay." She's like, "No, I'm fucking with you. Give me the guitar." so it was hilarious. Yeah, it's interesting. But I love having this relationship with our fans. I really do. They've helped get me out of my own head. Everybody encourages each other. Everybody lifts each other up. It's just a beautiful community to have. So yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, now you're coming through the Motor City this time around with the guys from Pretty Reckless. It's funny because I want to say, I'm almost positive the last time Pretty Reckless played here was that final Soundgarden show, and that was in 2017.
Yeah, I think this is their first show. Right now they're out on tour, and this is the first time that they're back.
Yeah,
I think maybe since then. So yeah, I mean, like they're amazing people. In fact, Taylor Momsen was my Zoom happy hour buddy during lockdown. So it's like, "Hey, do you want to like just FaceTime?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So she's my sister from another mister. And so I'm just so happy to have them out. And I'm so happy. I love their latest album. I'm so glad that I'm going to be able to hear these new tunes for the first time. So it's going to be a great tour. We're also bringing out our friend Lilith Czar. Again, this is the second time that I'm touring with her because we brought her out for half the Evanescence run, and the brand new band, The Warning, three sisters from Mexico City. They cut their teeth doing Metallica covers when they were like, middle school. And so now I don't think any of them are actually 21, and they just are shredders. And so we're just happy to have them out.
You're going to take them around the world. That's pretty cool. So you got a lot of things happening in the camp as well outside the tour. You got the graphic novel coming out. And then I just saw that you're going to be hosting another more episodes of this AXS series, A Year in Music, right?
Oh, yeah. I got to keep my hands busy.
Yeah. No, I know it. Tell me about this graphic novel, because I had it on your Facebook. I want to see if I can pull this up here real fast while I'm talking to you, because it was funny. The Facebook says Hyde Manor is a tale of the celebrated group as they seek the refuge in a Gothic estate filled with creaks and twists and doomed revelations, doom-filled revelations. So it's kind of funny because you know what I thought of right away was that stupid movie Studio 666.
I know. What's funny? It's like none of us thought about that. And then who was it? I think it was my guitar player, Joe. He's like, "Yeah, this is sounding kind of familiar." It's definitely different.
Nobody gets killed while the lumberjack is playing, right?
No. There's no lumberjack,
all right.
Unfortunately. But it was interesting. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time, have a graphic novel, and it's written by the Winter Twins, who are good friends of ours, and they're just amazing. And when we were reading the summary of what all the situations that our characters get to be in, we were reading it like it was a bedtime story. We're like, ooh, just it's very weird and supernatural. So, and there's definitely some truth to it, but you can't let the truth get in the way of a good story either.
That's right. Alice Cooper said that to me several times. So, speaking of Studio 666, of course, we lost Taylor. Tell me about your relationship with him. Did you know him very well? You got any cool stories?
We didn't know him that well. My little brother hung out with him a couple times. I never got the chance to, but we've worked in similar circles, and it was just heartbreaking because we were actually supposed to have a gig with the Foo Fighters in the next couple months, and so that's not happening now. And it's a shame. We've we've been working with the same producer, Nick Raskulinecz, that did a bunch of those Foos records with Taylor. And every time that, and speaking of my little brother, every time RJ would, get off on a tear or something, like, in the studio, he'd be like, dude, you're acting just like Taylor. It's like, you guys got to hang out. And so I'm sure I wasn't there when Little Bro and Taylor met, but I'm sure it was a chaos in the room, just heard from everybody that I know that how wonderful Taylor was. And it's such a shame, man. We're losing so many of our beautiful souls in this community. And I know it's just a sign of the times and everyone's getting up there and all of that, but it's just a shame,
Yeah, I never had a chance to meet Taylor. I've never really been in the same circle. I met Dave Grohl a couple of times. Super nice, obviously.
Yeah.
And Taylor just seemed like the same thing. But I got a couple more fan questions here for you real fast. Brad Arnold says he only talked to you a couple times. You're a very nice person. How come you didn't talk to my friend Brad Arnold more? From years down.
Well, you never call me, Brad.
He's down in Nashville too.
He's right. He probably has seen me a couple of times and just we meet at Publix every now and then. I'll meet you in the Publix parking lot, bud.
All right, so that's your call to talk to Brad more. All right, another fan question from some guy named Brent Smith. I don't know who that is. The first time on Jay Leno, there was something about Oakwood in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So we were staying at the Oakwoods when we were making our first record, and Jay Leno had that jaywalking segment, right? And he knocked on our door randomly, and we were in the back room going over sequences for songs for our first record with our A&R guy. Also, half of us were very stoned at the moment, and this guy walks in with this huge head. And we're like, he takes a back. Like, he really does have a huge head. It's moon shaped, We're like, what the hell is Jay Leno's in our room right now? We're all like sitting on the bed, and they were doing this. I guess the VMAs were coming up, so they were trying to get people to parody some of the songs. So we did. They dressed us up. They had outfits and everything. Dressed us up and put a whole like little setup in our living room, and we did a parody of Fergalicious by Fergie. Wait, remember that back in the day? This is
I don't
years
remember
ago.
that, no.
And all of the guys, it was so funny because they took me in one room, and so I'm in this like schoolgirl outfit with the thing and the beret that she wore in the video. And then I walk out of the room and the guys are in the same outfit that I'm in. They brought like for the dudes to wear, and they're doing dances in the back. And you can find this on YouTube. Just put in Jay Leno and Hailstorm. It was hilarious, but it was actually really fun because then they gave us tickets to the show and we could go and like watch and stuff like that. So yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
Wait a second. You didn't know that he was coming. This was a total surprise?
No, this was a total fluke. He just happened to be knocking on our door. This was I don't know whether he still does this. I don't actually watch Jay Leno. But he had this jaywalking section where he basically would go around LA and knock on random people's door with a camera crew and make them do weird shit. So he just so happened to knock on our door. I'm pretty sure somebody tipped him off like, hey, there's a rock band upstairs. I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened. Because some of our neighbors were nicer than others. And some of our neighbors were like, it's too much noise. We got a lot of complaints in that apartment.
Yeah, Kid Rock, the same thing happened to him. He was on jaywalking before he broke as well. Out
That's
like
crazy.
Walking on the street, I guess they and he was like in LA recording or doing media or whatever it was. Same thing.
So I did not know that. I'll have to bring that up next time we see each other. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that one's from Brent Smith. Once again, we'll I don't know who that is, but we'll
who knows? It's such a random name.
All right. Well, good luck with Back from the Dead. That comes out on May 6th. Of course, the tour this year with Pretty Reckless and more, like you were saying, and to be coming through the Motor City. And maybe we'll even be able to press the flesh this time because I know it's maybe the bubble will be out and about. So
absolutely, man. And I can't wait to embrace you in person. And as always, dude, thank you so much for being a part of our family. We just appreciate you.
All right, Lizzie, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much, and safe travels. We'll see you here in Detroit. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
See you.